One of the things that I've talked about a few times on this channel is the roles in Apex, and one that I bring up a lot and one that people have interest in all the time is what's known as an IGL or in-game leader. They're basically the team captain and the brains behind the squad, and all great squads have a great IGL. Teams like GMT, TSM, NRG, or any top tier team has a fantastic leader paving the way for them. So hello everyone, I'm your hostess with the mostest, 8 Second Gaming, and in today's video we're going to be breaking down exactly how you can be an IGL and start leading your team to some sweet victory royales. I mean chicken dinners. I mean a champion of the arenas? Apex really needs a better term for wins. But if you guys are looking for even more Apex Legends guides and videos that go insanely deep on specific areas of Apex, and I'm talking deeper than any YouTube video you'll find, you need to check out the GameLeap website. Over there we have our top level coaches creating these highly informative guides so that you can be the best Apex player you can possibly be. So if you are looking to climb to Diamond, Masters, or even Predator, click the link in the description, pick yourself up a membership, or I'll steal all your cereal. But now, hopping into the video, we have to break down one thing for some people that may not be aware, but what exactly is an IGL? Well, like I said before, they're basically the leader of the team. They plan everything out. And I do mean everything. Drop spots, rotations, fights, game plans, where to move, how to move, who to shoot, when to shoot, how to file your taxes. Hell, they're even the ones who decide if the dress is white and gold or black and blue. When you have a proper IGL, you should not have to think at all. Most teams that have a good IGL let the other players on the team focus on their own jobs and not have to worry about game plans. IGLing is the most stressful job in Apex because you are literally carrying the team no matter what. It doesn't matter if you have the most kills or damage because you were the one who put the team into position to get said kills or damage. But you know, on the flip side, if your team dies because they were in a bad spot, that's all on you. Any mistake that happens in the game, like poor rotations, bad drop spots, or maybe even picking a bad spot to fight, all lands on your shoulders. So that brings me to the first real point of this video, and that's, are you ready to take on that responsibility? When IGLing, it can be very chaotic. A lot of stuff goes on, and no matter if you're in a 3-stack or solo queuing, ranked or pubs, you need to be confident in your Apex knowledge to lead the team. You should be comfortable enough with the game that you don't feel stressed out in fights and are able to accurately give callouts and information to teammates in fights. If you are the type of player to get flustered and crumble in a fight, you'll miss out on key details that can win your team the fight or even possibly the game. Take this for example, you should always be aware of your team's loadouts and what kind of heals they have. Because if you get into a bad fight that's at a bad range for your team's guns, you can end up wasting a lot of heals that your team may not have and end up dying because of it. That may seem like a small call, but these add up. If you keep piling on small details over time, it's a lot to take in, but they are all necessary in order to carry your team. Now, another thing that I see players get wrong is that the IGL has to be the best player on the team, and that's not typically correct. Usually the best fighter is your secondary fragger. They're just there to mop up kills. All aim, no brain type of role. Though roles can stack, so a secondary fragger can be an IGL. It's just more common that they are entry fraggers. So as an IGL, you don't always have to be hitting your shots or the best fighter, but you do need to make sure that you can still hold your own. And this is something that I have talked about on the channel before and even made a whole video on. But warming up and having a good firing range routine is crucial for being an IGL. You need to be able to get your head in the game, and that firing range time is just perfect for that. But now that that is covered, we can move on to our next point, and that is going to be how to lead your team. Now, this starts before you even touch the ground. A good IGL needs to get their team in the best spot possible, and that does include your drop spot. Most teams just pick spots randomly, and that leads to a lot of pointless deaths and lost RP. As an IGL, you need to be looking around at where teams are going on the map, see what's open, and make your decision based off that. Or if you're the type that wants to contest a team, you need to be picking a spot that has enough loot for both teams, and also making sure that teams aren't close by, because they will quickly rotate and third party you. And just to add to this, if you happen to be solo queuing and also jump master, make sure to be pinging locations. I have seen it where teams get confused on where you want to land and everyone ends up split, and that can be bad news bears. And speaking of pings, that leads into our next topic. You always need to be using these effectively as an IGL. The ping system in Apex is extremely in-depth, and it can communicate a lot without you having to say a word. Though I do recommend using a microphone if you intend on being an IGL, but the ping system is still a great asset to have in order to supplement your calls. Pinging drops, rotations, enemy teams, and much more is always useful for keeping your squad on the same page. Though you should always keep in mind though, there is a very fine line between over-pinging and just the right amount. You should always be pinging for a purpose and never spam ping. Spam pings are annoying and everyone hates them. There is only one reason that you should ever spam ping, and that is when you're using a Valkyrie ultimate. Sometimes you need to spam ping landing spots because your team has to be able to see them. A lot of times with Valkyrie ultimates, teams get confused and land split, but with spam pinging it can work out. Pings are needed in a game like Apex. A less skillful squad that plays together is much often better than a team of individually skilled players that have no idea how to play as a team. If you all commit together and work as a team, the fights you do end up taking are going to more often go in your favor. You have to remember that team shots and comboing abilities in this game is extremely overpowered. Apex is a team game, so being a good IGL means that you need to keep your team working together and on the same track. The more you do that, the better your squad will do. Now, the next thing we have to talk about is your speed. And with this, I'm not talking about the character that you play. I mean the speed in which you make decisions. This means looting, rotations, pings, fights, anything and everything that happens in the game you need to be quick at. You already have so many responsibilities to take care of as an IGL. If you add, say, being slow at looting, you're going to reach a bottleneck in decisions being made, and that can cost your team. Even if you were to be playing Edge, if you're slow on rotations, teams can still gatekeep you or be in better spots to fight you when you were to arrive at ring. And these do grow on top of each other. If you're the team that always is ready first and making moves before anyone else, you're always going to be one step ahead and constantly be in better spots throughout the entire course of a match. Now, you still have to be smart about this. You can't let your guard down or rush choices because you feel you have to. Sometimes things do take a little longer than others, but as time goes on and you practice leading your team, you will become faster and faster each and every time. Also, if you happen to be on a squad that plays with each other all the time, eventually you will know all of each other's playstyles. And with that, you can get to a point where you will just know what the IGL would want to do without them having to say. So you are going to be able to streamline things and be a lot faster. A wise man once said, slow is smooth, smooth is fast, so always keep that in mind when IGLing. Now for our next point, we need to cover one main thing, and that may sound super obvious, but this is staying with your team. One thing I see when I watch other people's streams or try helping someone out is that they are always trying to be a one-man army. These are typically small things like solo dropping, running ahead of the team, or maybe even trying to pull off a sick 1v3 because you want the TikTok clip. Look, we all enjoy getting a nice clip, but if you're looking to lead a team, this just isn't a good idea. Even if you feel like you have a weak team. Like I said earlier in the video, a team that works together has a much greater chance at winning. You'd be surprised what kind of stuff you can pull off when you work as a team. As the squad's leader, you always need to be aware of what your team is doing and their positioning at all times. If you position yourself well enough around your team, you won't really have to rely on their callouts, and you will be able to see what they see and react to that. And I'm not saying to hold their hands, that's sometimes overkill, but you should be close enough to provide support no matter what happens. A lot of teams die because someone gets split when a fight breaks out while they're not paying attention. So you always need to be aware of where your team is playing. Now, this next one is huge and something a lot of players need to understand. Dying is not a failure, it's a learning opportunity. I see a lot of people try an IGL, but the moment something goes wrong, they overly blame themselves and stop trying to be an IGL after that. They think because they got their team killed one time, they aren't fit to be a leader and shouldn't even try. And that mindset is something that you need to change right away. Every death, wrong rotation, wrong fight, every mistake you make, you will then grow as a player and as a leader. You can learn that your team doesn't do well in X situations, or can't fight when Y team does this. You learn a lot about timings, your team's playstyle, and there's so much to learn from making slips in your game. That is one main reason that I love playing in scrim lobbies. They are a great spot to highlight my own weak areas and grow as a player. This is something that you always need to be looking to do in order to lead your team. Find a lesson from every possible chance you get and always be looking to improve. And like I said, IGLing is very hard. Not every player can do it. You will be tested every single day. But a strong IGL is needed by every team in order to succeed. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did and you want to stay up to date with the latest and greatest Apex Legends tips, tricks, and news, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button. Thank you all for watching. Once again, I'm 8 Second Gaming, and I will see you in the next one.